Messi dazzles on a landmark evening. Liverpool stumble ahead of a tough run. Nagelsmann impresses again. We've got a transfer roundup and the Onefootball Power Rankings all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers and this is the Daily News. First off, add to last night's Champions League action where Lionel Messi was sublime on his 700th appearance for Barcelona. 700 appearances, 613 goals, 250 assists and 34 trophies mean he's just a bit of a club legend. On the night, he was fantastic as Barcelona saw Dortmund off 3-1. Lucien Favre said he's just impossible to play against, and Mats Hummels says he's the best football player he's ever seen. You would have thought that Mats Hummels realised that before he played against him last night, but obviously not. Messi and Suarez traded goals and assists to put Barcelona 2-0 ahead before a sumptuous Lionel Messi pass split the defence and Antoine Griezmann buried it. This also showed, by the way that they embraced after scoring, that there probably is no problem in the relationship between Messi and Griezmann and that it's all just paper talk. Anyway, the front three are firing and it's their brilliance which has helped keep Ernesto Valverde in a job for another week at least. The other story of the night was Jadon Sancho coming on and bagging a brilliant goal and really giving Dortmund a bit of life in a night which didn't really do them many favours going forwards. Jadon Sancho, of course, may have seen it as a little bit of an audition. He's been reportedly linked with so many teams around Europe, Barcelona being one of them. Last night, would he have done enough to impress the big wig sitting in the Barcelona director's box? Maybe, maybe not. We'll probably have to wait until next summer to find out. Oh, and finally, to top it all off, Messi scored against a record-breaking 34th Champions League opponent last night. So moving on from magisterial Messi and on to Liverpool, who stumbled at what is the beginning of an extraordinarily tough run for Jurgen Klopp's men. Last night was the first game of 12 in 36 days in all sorts of competitions. It was only announced a few days ago that while Klopp takes his side to the Club World Championship, there'll be the the under-23s manager in charge of their EFL quarter-final against Aston Villa. Things just get more difficult for the Liverpool manager as he's also had a few injury scares. Mo Salah made his return last night after missing the Crystal Palace game with an ankle injury. Fabinho went off in the first half with an injury and he is not necessarily someone who likes to change his lineup too much. This means if Klopp continues to play his favoured starting lineup for the whole of December, they're going to be absolutely knackered and I'm not so sure whether they can keep this form up. Last night, yes, it was a 1-1 draw with Napoli, but let's give a little bit of credit to Napoli as well. They defended well, as you'd pretty much expect from the Italian side, and Koulibaly especially was brilliant in the defence. And all of this after Napoli a few days ago, well, loads of their first team players were fined for not attending a retreat that the chairman suggested. Maybe the next best thing that going on a team retreat to boost team confidence is rejecting going on that team retreat to boost team confidence. Who knows? Anyway, Napoli were pretty lucky in the end to escape with a point, and it means that Liverpool will have to get a point against Salzburg in their final game to ensure that they're through to the last 16. But to the rest of the European action last night, and we have Julian Nagelsmann, who continues to impress. He was linked with the Spurs job for that brief period between Pochettino being sacked and Mourinho being hired. Arsenal reportedly are looking at him, but won't pay the money that is going to be required to release him from his Leipzig contract. And Bayern Munich, as well as looking at Thomas Tuchel, are also definitely interested in the Leipzig manager because he's doing a phenomenal job. Last night he made history as he took Leipzig into the last 16 of the competition for the first time ever. This after in the last few years at Hoffenheim taking them into Europe and then into the Champions League for the first time ever as well. Leipzig do have a lot of money, but he's not necessarily going out and spending absolutely mad money like the top sides in Europe are doing. Nagelsmann is a top quality coach, and if he stays at Leipzig or moves on elsewhere, he will do a very good job, no doubt. I'm sure we'll be seeing him in the Champions League probably for the next 10 to 15 years. They were 2-0 down at home to Benfica before Emil Forsberg pulled one back in the 90th minute, and then the same man added an equaliser in the 96th minute to send Leipzig into absolute raptures. Of course, Nagelsmann is absolutely delighted with this and has said that it's an absolute honour to take Leipzig into the next round. So next up, we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer rumours, where Edinson Cavani, whose contract runs out in the summer at PSG, has sent his representatives to talk with LA Galaxy. After Jose Mourinho's come in, Jan Vertonghen is now willing to sign a new Spurs contract. Kai Havertz is being chased by about 7 of Europe's top clubs, and Bruno Fernandes, the Sporting Lisbon attacking midfielder, has signed a new deal at the club. Now it runs until 2023 like his old contract did, but the release clause has been upped by 20 million from 65 65 to 85 million, hopefully to ward off interest from the likes of Manchester United and Spurs. So here we are at the Onefootball Power Rankings. This is where we put a list together of the top 10 best players in Europe based on their last 5 matches. This includes the Champions League, the Europa League, and of course their domestic leagues. So without any further ado, let's get into it and take a look at who's in from numbers 10 till 6. In at number 10 is Timo Werner. Jamie Vardy, the Premier League's top goal scorer, holds number 9. Marcus Rashford's in at number 8. Hazard's form at Real Madrid sees him into 7. And Vardy's teammate James Maddison takes the number 6 spot. So into the top 5 now, and at number 5 is Romelu Lukaku. The big man is showing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he was wrong to sell him in the summer. Either that, or he's just found a league that really suits his capabilities. Despite this though, he's helped himself to 4 goals, a couple of assists in the last few games, and is really Inter Milan's focal point in attack. Number 4 though is Hakim Ziyech. The Ajax wonder in midfield is really helping his side with pretty much an assist every single game. In the last 5, he's got 8 assists and 1 goal. It's no wonder that Ajax have managed to score 4 goals in 4 of their last 5 games, and they scored 2 last night as they beat Lille. Karim Benzema sits in at number 3, and it was so close between him and our second place player that almost the battle for second and third was more interesting than the battle for first. With 7 goals and 2 assists, it's really hard to ignore all the wonderful work the attackers are doing. I know the power rankings always gets a bit of hate for not really including too many defenders, but when the strikers are doing so well, it's so difficult for the defenders' ratings to be up there. Anyway, Benzema's been brilliant for Real Madrid, really holding down the fort in the absence of Cristiano Ronaldo, and he deserves to be in at number 3. So lastly, we come to the top 2, and you guys know what I do here. I present a case for both before finally giving you the winner of this week's power rankings. First off is the goal machine, Robert Lewandowski. 1 assist, 8 goals, including 4 against Red Star Belgrade. It's pretty hard to ignore what the Bayern Munich forward is doing. In fact, at the weekend, it was so shocking because he didn't score for the first time in a Champions League or Bundesliga game this season, even though Bayern Munich did win 4-0, and he did manage to get himself an assist. On the other hand, of course, we spoke about him earlier in the show, Lionel Messi. 5 goals and 3 assists in the last few, and everything he does just turns to gold. When Barcelona aren't looking too good, and when Ernesto Valverde has set up some really odd tactic, Messi steps up and proves that he is one of, if not the best in the world. Notice how I said one of, because I don't want to start a massive argument in the comment section. Anyway, without further ado, the winner of this week is Robert Lewandowski. His goals are just too difficult to ignore, and his overall rating in the last 5 has been nothing short of sensational. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts on the power rankings and the rest of today's daily news down in the comment section below. You can also smash the like button whilst you're down there if you please. Thank you very much for that, and you can also click here or here to check out all the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.